Yes, gang, it's another day, another pound in your pocket, or not, as the case may be. And today I thought I'd become all formal and we have a tie on. Now, I'm very difficult at putting ties on, I'm afraid. I really am. I think people are starting to realise I am possibly one of the world's worst dressers. What do you mean? What do you mean? You agree? Of course you agree, dear. Everything I say is right. It is always right. There's only one time I'm not right, and that's when I'm wrong with myself. Yes, work that out if you will. Now, I did try and get Gwen. You know Gwen. She's the lady that comes along to the karaoke nights and the bingo on occasions. Did try and get her on the phone today earlier for inclusion in the show, because we haven't heard from her for a long time, but unfortunately she's not answering at the moment. Now, Gwen does actually work in a doctor's surgery, and I wanted to tell you a little story that she told me last time she was in at the karaoke last week, so I'm going to have to tell you myself from memory. And you know what it's like. My memory is failing. Midnight, not a sound on the pavement. All I want is a new life right under the sun. Yes, I know it's the wrong words, dear, but it doesn't matter. The thought was there. Now, it's like that, of course, at Christmas time and birthdays. When you get a dreadful, dreadful present from someone, yes, gang, like that packet of handkerchiefs, or indeed those pairs of socks, or I think possibly worse than those two items is cheap perfume or aftershave. I mean, we all used to get that in the 70s, more in the 70s rather than now, don't you think? Cheap perfume or aftershave. What an awful present. No, I mean, give me cash. That's all I ask, cash. I can stash it away in my bank. I've got a bank story as well for you today. There's so much to tell you, and such little time to squeeze it all in, boys and girls. It's going to be squeezed all in. Now, last night, another bingo at West 5. You remember, that's the new place. We're doing the bingo. Third week, and week on week, we've had another couple of people join in. So that's looking promising. And I'm very pleased to be working with my friend John again. The old throat's playing up again. Very pleased to be working with one of the old managers. Well, not old, but he was managing the Golden Lion, where, of course, to do the bingo on Monday. He left there to take over the new place, West 5, and I'm working with him again on Monday, which is all very nice. He was quite pleased with me last night because I found here the other 2 pizza vouchers. Do you remember I spent 2 of them 2 weeks ago when I started there? So I think I had, how much was it? £25 worth of pizza vouchers, right? Do you remember I told you? The price of the pizzas came to £18. I gave them a 20, 4 lots of 5. That's £20 for those of you with mathematical difficulties. Don't you worry, I don't make a mistake when it comes to money, my darling. Oh, they don't get another penny out of me, love. Not another penny. And I gave him £20 worth of vouchers. He says, "Oh, I can't give you change." I said, "Give me the £5 back." So I took back a £5 and gave him the rest in coins. Yes, huh? What a cheek, dear, trying to get another £3 out of me. Well, I went in there again yesterday, and we had exactly the same. Are you ready? Bless me, Sukova, I have sinned. Yesterday I purchased 2 medium pizzas, Hawaiian. Okay? Now, for some strange reason, I wondered what a Hawaiian pizza was. Is it cheese, tomato, with a real Hawaiian chopped up on top? And if so, what about the bones? Do you think the Hawaiian has been boned first? It'd be quite tasty, do you? I do think we should have pizzas and other frozen, perhaps frozen foods. You know, when you buy a casserole and that, you could have for cannibals. Human flavour. What do you reckon? What would it taste like? Perhaps we have some cannibals listening at the moment. What is it like to have a human pizza? Like a Hawaiian? Because that's what I thought it was, dear. A Hawaiian pizza is a pizza with a Hawaiian chopped up on top, dear. But it wasn't, apparently. It was pineapple and ham And I had some chili, not, oh, what is it? No, peppers, not chili peppers, peppers on top, which I quite like, green peppers. So I had that, and John had the same, but with mushrooms and without the green peppers. Okay? And I also had one of those tubs, oh, same as last time, dear, of Ben and Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. Now, so we had a medium pizza each, Suko. And then when it comes to the tub of ice cream, I said, have you got any bowls? To John, this is, as we walked in, because the Pizza Hut is very close to the pub. And if you ever want to come to Bingate at West 5, you could have a pizza first and then come down a pub. It's a lovely pub. It really is. They've got a big garden outside and all that. I'll have to take my camera in there and do a couple of photos for you. Or maybe even the movie camera and perhaps tag it on to somewhere in the middle of the YouTube videos that you're watching this on, perhaps some of you. So we sat there. I finished my pizza and John was still halfway through his. I said, have you got the bowls for the ice cream? He said, no, we'll just eat half of it and save me the other half. Well, that's... You don't do that with me, dear. You don't do that with me. Of course, I was sitting there. This is before customers were coming in. I was sitting there and I ate this ice cream and I felt like just have a little bit more. And by the time I finished, there was only about a quarter of it left. Well, it's not my fault, dear. You should have put it in a bowl. It's the same as having biscuits and crisps in the house. There are no biscuits. I'm sorry, children. If you ever wanted to come and see Chris and have my biscuits and my crisps in the cupboard, then I'm afraid there are none. And that's it. The reason being, of course, I cannot have them in the house without eating them. I know. How is it possible, please tell me, to have a packet of chocolate biscuits, take 2 out and put the rest back? Not possible, dear. And I'm interested, can anyone actually do that? Eh? Come on, gang. Old and young alike, adults and children, do you have packets of crisps and biscuits in the cupboard? Are you able to remove 1 or 2 biscuits, eat those and put the rest back in the cupboard? Or, like me, do you open them and scoff the lot? What do you reckon? I want to know what you do with this methods like this. Please tell me. The email address to the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Just to paint a picture of those of you listening today, instead of watching, I am today wearing a little white-sleeved shirt, unironed. Oh, don't start me on that, dear. The ironing board saga goes on. I've got a feeling it's going to go on longer than the bread machine saga of last year. Now, you remember that, dear? Went on for months and months and months, the bread machine. I'm wearing a white short-sleeved shirt with a collar. Now, I did have it done up, but I must have... My neck has become even butcher than it was before. I mean, a couple of years ago, I'm not going to lie to you, a couple of years ago, I had a bit of a weedy neck, you know, a bit of a puffy neck, to be honest. Now it's become big and butch, and it's big around there, and the muscles are no, it doesn't seem to be there. Not many muscles, but nevertheless, a big butch neck I've got now. So I cannot do this up without choking myself. I'm afraid. Can't do it up. So it is open, and then the next... What else have I got? I've got like a blue tie with like little blue lines on it, which is quite nice. This usually comes out at people's weddings, to be honest. Oh, God, no, I don't buy a new suit every time I go to a wedding. We try and squeeze into the one I've had for years, dear. Why? But would you like me to wear a jacket as well? I've got jackets in there. Shall I get a jacket? All right, hang on a minute. Let's go the whole hog today, shall we? Oh, yes. Oh, I'm going to have to start buying. So, oh no, you're looking at me now. You've just realised the shirt isn't tucked in, I'm afraid, because you only usually see the top half. Just a minute. Let me get a jacket. Oh, I can't find one. Oh, here's one here. That's it. Nice jacket here. There we are. I've got a jacket, so I've got a nice black jacket now as well to put on here. I'm sure these people who read the news, they don't. Now what? Oh, it's a bit dusty. This he hasn't been out of the cupboard for ages, dear. There we are. What do you reckon? Could this be the new me? I'm now wearing. It's like is it? I think it's a grey jacket. We've got a white shirt and a blue tie on. I just don't care anymore. I could be a newsreader. Just like little Lee, who works at West 5. Lee, yeah, he's one of the staff who works behind the bar at West 5. And he works on the BBC. Yes, dear. He's been a newsreader. Not only has he been a newsreader, he has also presented bits of This Morning, which is a programme on ITV. Now, I'm not quite sure when he did that, but he bless his heart, he's only 20. He's a little cute thing he is, and he does television, not like me, pretend television on YouTube. Oh, no, dear. Not like me, pretend television, current TV or YouTube. He's on the BBC, dear. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. And bless his heart. Do you know, he carries around a little DVD of what he's done on the This Morning thing. It's fantastic. I was watching him last night. On it went on the screens all around the pub. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I have to say, he's fantastic, right? Because during the whole Bingay thing last night and the week before, I've worked with him now for 2 weeks. I think the week before was a guy called Darren. Last night was Lee, and he joins in really well. When I'm on that microphone in a club or somewhere like that, then I can be. I mean, I don't mean to be vicious. I don't mean to be vicious, my darlings, but I do like to have a joke with people. And Lee really was the butt of my jokes last night. He was. And he takes it. He stands there and just takes it and smiles and laughs along. And that's what it's all about, you see. That's what it's all about. Coming to one of my nights, anything like that, Bingay or the karaoke or the quiz night, anything like that. Perhaps not so much the disc DJ nights, because all you get is the music then. But it's all about having a laugh. Now, 99.9% of people will come out and have a laugh. Sometimes it's more difficult. If you come into a pub or a club or something like that and you're determined not to have a good night, then I'm afraid you won't. And there's nothing anyone can do. If you want to sit there in the corner looking as miserable as sin, it's hopeless. But when you get someone like Lee behind the bar, it's all so much easier from my point of view. As I'm dishing it out, he's giving it back again. You know, the sort of thing. And I go on. Of course, once I'd found out he worked for the BBC, that was it, dear. That was it. I'd like to say hello to BBC Lee. We call him BBC Lee now. BBC Lee behind the bar. Oh, it's fantastic. I've got new friends, boys and girls. I love it. I love it. I love starting in a new venue like that, because you get to know the staff. And in this particular place, as I think as well as in the Golden Lion, everyone works together. I've always said there's no one thing that makes a venue work. It's lots of things working together. You can have a brilliant host, a brilliant DJ, a brilliant manager. One bad barman can ruin the whole thing. Everything has to join together. And at the end of the night, I help them clear up, they help me clear up, and that's how it works. And it's just fantastic. I love working in a new venue like that. Because of that interaction. I love it. Love it. Funnily enough, there was a lad in there last night. He was what was his? He was Lee as well. There were actually, can you believe there were 4 Lees in there last night? 4 Lees. One was sitting quite near the stage, near all the prizes. He runs a pub. He runs another pub. One, of course, Lee, BBC Lee, working behind the bar. There was Skinhead Lee, who was sitting around the other side. He didn't want to play, which is okay. You don't have to. You're not forced to play Bingay when you're there. You can sit there and watch and be miserable. No, he was all right. There was no one miserable in there last night, really. And there was another Lee in there last night who walked in. He was about about 20, 25, 26, something like that. And he stayed sitting down there. He was sitting kind of away from everyone else. And I never like people to be on their own. I always try and go out of my way to welcome them into the fold, so to speak. So I've got my microphone, and he was looking a little bit sad. It was looking a bit sad. So I went over there without the microphone. Well, I had it with me, but I kept it down by my side. I said, all right, do you want to join us for bingo? Yeah, we've got another couple of games to go. And he says, oh, OK. I said, sir, you're right there. You're looking a little bit down. He says, oh, no, something's happened today. I said, oh, well, do you want to tell me? He said, no, not really. I said, oh, well, don't worry about it. Come and join us for a little game of bingo. And I sat down there. I said, where do you live? And started chatting and that. And eventually there was a little smile on his face. And it was not surprising, really, is it? Once a huge international celebrity like myself comes over and talks to you. I mean, you can't help but smile, can you? Be honest, Dan. One guy once, Michael, his name was Michael. Was it Michael Murphy? That's it. Who I haven't seen for years and years. I don't know where he disappeared to. I hope he is still around. I'm not sure how well he was, but I hope he's still around. Michael, his name, and he said something to me once, and he says, Chris, one of the talents that you've got is when you smile, you make everyone else smile. So let's try that now. Are you smiling? Come on, smile. Isn't that a nice thing to say? When you smile, you make everyone else smile. And that's just so nice. Mind you, you smile at some people and they just glare back, don't they? Especially young ladies who think they're being chatted up. No chance of me, dear. Your boyfriends have got more chance of me than you have. Believe me, all right? So always try and smile at people. Sometimes you don't always get it back, but that's just one of those things, okay? Let them sit there as miserable as sin as they want to. Let them sit there and criticise. You get people who come into places and they just sit there and criticise, not just in pubs and clubs, in houses. I always remember being in someone's house. This is about 16 or 17 years ago. There was me and there was another DJ, who I won't mention his name, we were around this young lads. It was him and his friend, and they'd invited us round after a night dancing and what have you, for cups of tea and that sort of thing. What was it? We call it a chill-out party, okay? A chill-out party is when you've been out all night dancing in a club or something, and then you go round someone's house to kind of relax and just chat about perhaps events that night or general things. And you sit there, you have a cup of tea. Maybe if you want to drink. I of course, have tea and biscuits and chats and things like that. And this boy invited us round. It was a very basic flat in Peckham. And I always remember sitting there, and him and his flatmate went out into the kitchen to make the tea. And this other DJ said to me, well, I don't know how they've got the cheek. And I said, what do you mean? He said, look at this place. It's filthy. And I'm looking around and I said, and? He said, I don't want to stay here. I said, well, go home then. He said, are you going home? I said, no. He said, why not? I said, because they've invited us round. And he's like, but look at it. He's looking around like this. He said, I bet they've got cockroaches here. And I said, look, this is their home. They've invited us here because they think they kind of, some youngsters, sometimes they put you on a pedestal, yeah? And I'm like, you should be privileged to be invited round here. Why are you sitting here picking and criticising? And he went, oh, well then, all in a huff. But it's just so wrong. Don't you think that's wrong? To sit there picking faults. OK, yeah, it was very basic. It was a little bit dirty. But nevertheless, this is someone's home. And they had invited us round there to share it. I was the last one going to complain. It wasn't that bad anyway. And it's just nasty, isn't it? Sitting there and criticising like that. Anyway, I don't know how we got on the subject of that. So eventually, Lee decides to come over and play the bingo, and he sat at the bar. I introduced him to Skinhead Lee. Well, actually, don't tell anyone I told you this. It's actually Bald Lee, but you never say that to anyone, you know. You you don't want to hurt their feelings, so you call them Skinhead Lee. Whenever you see someone bald in a venue, you don't say baldly, because that could offend. Last thing you'd ever want to do is offend someone. And that's the truth. You never, ever want to offend anyone by anything you say at all. You want to make them happy and smile and maybe have a little bit of a laugh. Okay? So, sat him next to Skinhead Lee and he started talking to him, and then he bought a couple of bingo tickets and started playing. He didn't win, but at the end of the night, as I was finishing my stuff out and he was about to leave, he said, "I'd like to think I've made a friend tonight." I said, "Well, you have." He said, "Thank you so much. I came down there really quite down and unhappy." He said, "And you've made me smile and made me a little bit happy again. Thank you so much for doing that." Isn't that nice? When someone comes up and says that, that is what I achieved doing a night. I try and make people smile and happy. Now, as I've said again, sometimes it's impossible. When some people come out and you try and talk to them, and it's just impossible because they won't let you in for whatever reason. Or the excuse is, I just want to be left alone. Well, how can you come out to a pub and want to be left alone? I do believe my job is, on this planet, as I said before, to make people laugh or make people smile or maybe think about things. It's a lot easier with some people than it is others. I'm sure you've seen them before. People sitting in a pub looking miserable. Next time you see someone in a pub looking miserable, just go over and say, "You're all right." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm all right." You can usually tell if they want to talk to you or not, right? So that was very nice. So I met four Lees last... Four Lees? It's funny, my son's called Lee as well. So there's 5 Lees, and I know so many Lees at the moment. And I called him... What did I call him? The Lee who was... He was quite good looking. So I called him Pretty Boy Lee. All right? The one who runs the pub, we called him Bar Lee. Do you get it? Bar Lee. Oh, by the way, that's a new noise I've learned. I've now got a new way of laughing, boys and girls. Yes. Joe of AmericanTalkUSA.com. You are going to love this one, dear. You are going to love this one, right? A new way of laughing and a new addition to my noises, which already consist of blah, 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 blah. And now it's a new way of laughing. Are you ready? Let's do it again. I want you to learn this one and do it always in front of your friends and family. I tell you what, why not, if you're listening to this or indeed watching it, I'll count to 5, and at that point, just pause the programme. If you're recording this, either sound or either the podcast, the recording, the podcast, or the video, YouTube or current TV viewers. Why don't you? I'll count to 5 and then pause it, and then next time someone comes in the room, just play it at full volume. Ready? Here we go then. Let me count to 5. Well, so when I get to 5, pause it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's it. What you could do is when you're about to tell a joke or something that you think is funny, as soon as you've finished it, You know, count 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put it on pause, and as soon as you finish the joke, hit the play button so that they hear the hey, and then, even if they didn't think the joke was funny, they'd probably laugh anyway, dear. I'm sure there are a lot of comics and people like that on the television who actually do that. They have laughing already on tapes and things like that. Well, not tapes, not here in the Mirable Studios. Tapes, dear. Beg pardon? We're all digital here. Completely digitalised, dear. That's it. Digital. Good idea? All right, feel free to use that. Or, if you want to re-record that and play it to all your friends, feel free to do so. Do you want to try it yourself? After 3, 1, 2, 3. Go on, do it. I can't hear you. Do it. This bit, you know. Hi. My nephew's quite good at doing that, the 11-year-old Jimmy. Yes. Hi. I just lose it every single day, don't I? Anyway, other people I met last night. Excuse me. It says, I said it was young, pretty. Oh, yeah, the Lees. We had Bar Lee, who runs the pub. Bar and Lee. Barley. Okay. We had Skinhead Lee. We had Pretty Boy Lee. And we had BBC Lee. The Lees are taking over, boys and girls. They are taking over. I don't know many Chris's now. Do you? Do you know many Chris's? Not so much a popular name anymore, is it? Huh? Who else? We had a table there. We had a girl who owns a sunbed shop. Yes, she owns a sunbed shop. And I'm not a great fan of sunbeds, I'm sure, but of course, her being the owner of the shop insists they're not damaging or anything like that. And she had a table of 1, 2, 3, 5 people on her table. They were all playing bingo all night long. They came down specially to play it down in West 5. By the way, the address is West 5, Pope's Lane in Ealing. And we do that every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. Okay, once again, it's West 5, Pope's Lane, Ealing, West 5, London. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. And they were sitting there, so we got the sunbed girl. I can't remember what. I just called her the sunbed girl. There was Barley, and there were 3 others. Oh, well, what were their names? I cannot remember now. Can't remember now, but a really nice group of people. Oh, one of the girls' names was Chelsea. She was there with her sister, Lauren, that's it. There was Chelsea and Lauren. Oh, hang on, who was the other one then? I think there was another one. Was there just 4 or 5 on that table? Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway, and at one point, Lauren won a prize. Yes! Lauren is Chelsea's sister. They're sisters. Ever so pretty. And they had, like, silver eyeshadow on, which was glittering away. It was glittering away in the lights, in the studio lights that were on. I mean, there were so many lights on there last night. To be honest, little Lee, BBC Lee, nearly got up and started reading a news programme, dear. I must try and get a little video of him. He's very, very television, dear. Very, very... It's not like me. Oh, no. He wouldn't get away with half of what I get on in here, dear. He sits there very, very news. Good morning. Here is the news on BBC London. Petrol prices have now hit an all-time high of £2 million for 1 litre. Can we survive? No, that's not newsy at all, is it, eh? Anyway, back to the story. Lauren won a prize, and she got up. She didn't know what to do, so she rang her mum. She phoned her mum. She got the mobile phone. Hello, mum. What would you like? Oh, isn't that nice? How nice is that? She won the prize and then rang her mum up to ask her what she wanted. I think that's lovely, don't you? That is really, really nice. And what her mum chose in the end was a little crockery set with 4 plates, 4 bowls, 4 big plates, 4 small plates and 4 bowls, I think it was. So that's a nice little prize to win, isn't it? And I grabbed the phone off her and started talking to her mum, who is now coming down next week to play. How fabulous is that, darling? It's all one big happy family there, lovey. We don't make any money there, love. It's a registered charity. We're going to have to do a registered charity. That's it. We're not worried about money. We want smiles on faces. That's what we need in this world, dear. Oh, if only Bush and all Gordon Brown, if only they smiled a bit more, then the oil-producing companies might reduce the price of the oil. It's no use going into these OPEC meetings, dear, with serious, boring faces. That's half the blooming problem, dear. Isn't it? God, can you just imagine going to one of those OPEC meetings? I bet they sit there as miserable as sin, dear. You've got to smile. Gordon Brown, it's no use going, oh, what can you do for us? Oh, for God's sake, throw a party, dear. Do it at the taxpayer's expense. I'm sure you've done that before, my love. Eh? God knows what sort of parties these government ministers have together. You know, I often wondered what Margaret Thatcher would have looked as a dominatrix. I bet she did. She probably had the black... Well, we won't even go there, my darling. I don't think we're even going there. Now, who else did we have last night? There was John, Tom, Claire. They're all regulars. And there's Rodders. Rodders is a nice bloke. He wears glasses. Very nice to talk to. But he kind of appears for about half an hour, and then he suddenly disappears again. It's all very strange and mysterious. So that's Rodders. It's not Rodney, it's Roderick. I believe his name is Roderick, that's right. So that's it. I need some new Bingay prizes as well. If you've ever got suggestions on prizes, we need them at this sort of level. We need sort of between £5 and sort of around the £6 mark, $12, okay? They're for the one-line prizes. For the two-line prizes, we need to go up to £10, okay? $20. And for the full-house prizes, we need to go up to about £15, which is about $30. So if you've got any suggestions, and I've asked for this before, can we have serious suggestions, please, Anonymous? It'll come out with something sarcastic and funny, I'm sure. If you've got any serious suggestions for prizes, please let me know on the email, which is, of course, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Okay, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So that was West 5 last night. Now, if you're watching the YouTube, you'll see my hand come to my mouth occasionally, and you'll see my face move, but no sound comes out. That's because I've got a little button here that whenever I make a noise that I don't want anyone to hear, I just throw the button like this. And although you see it going on, you can't actually hear it, because it's not very nice to hear people coughing and out on the radio, and I do try and keep it to a minimum. Interestingly enough, as I mentioned on the last show, it doesn't seem to happen in the garden. Only when I'm here in the Mirable studio. Maybe I should open the window. Will that help? Just a moment now. Let me open my window. Oh, yeah. Don't want to leave it open too wide in case we have another storm. We had a storm last night on the way home from West 5. We had a storm, lightning and thunder. It's always very scary, I find, lightning. Oh! But scary and exciting in the same breath. I love the thunderstorms you have in Florida. Always excited by those, but I do get scared by those. And I was looking around on the internet. I just typed in lightning, and look, I found this thing on the BBC website, which I'm sure, of course, BBC Lee will know about, because he's practically part of the furniture at the BBC now, to be honest. He also works at ITV. Oh, he's been everywhere, dear. ITV, BBC. He's now applied for a children's BBC presenting job, which I hope he gets. I think he's got the looks, and because they like young people to do that. It's not like when we were children, boys and girls. Us now in our 40s, we never had young people with spiky hair waltzing all over the television, dear. We had auntie and uncle type people, didn't we? Yes. John Noakes, Peter Purvis, Valerie Singleton, Leslie Judd. We had aunties and uncles. Now, you've got these young things wandering around all over the screen with spiky hair who are about 3 years old, presenting programmes, dear. What's going on there? You see, it's all looks now. It's all over for me and you, dear. It's all over for me and you. Eh? Oh, now, yes. I've got to tell you that. I tell you what, I won't tell you the Gwen story today. I'll save that for when we get her on the phone, because it's quite a good story, actually. It's about some people who have been interviewed they've been having interviews because she works at a doctor's surgery, Gwen. Yeah, at her age, she's 70. She still works. She loves it. Doctor's surgery, but I got this feeling they take the rise out of her now and again, judging from the amount of work that she actually does. So we will save that little story, all right, for another day, my darlings, when I can get her on the phone. Yes, thunderbolts and lightning. I found this on the BBC advice on when there is a thunderstorm. Now, if you want to add to this, anything at all, please do so. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. It says, thunderstorms are sharp and shocking, literally, for some people. I find them a bit scary. It goes on, if you can hear the clouds rumbling, chances are the storm is close enough for you to be struck by lightning. Oh, hang on, I've got lightning here somewhere. Well, not so much lightning. I've got a thunderclap somewhere. 1 minute. Where's my effects? Lightning, thunder. Oh, where is it? Twang, twilight zone. Thunderclap. Here we go. Thunderclap. Thunderclap. Where are we? Let's play that. Just a minute. It can strike up to 10 miles away from the centre of a storm. There we are. There's your thunderstorm today, darling. It says, if thunderstorms are forecast, postpone or cancel outdoor activities, especially golf and rod fishing. If a storm is approaching, take cover inside your car with the windows wound up. Now, find out why are the windows got to be wound up? Does it literally come through an open window? Ooh. Sheds and isolated trees and convertibles do not afford sufficient protection. Get rid of your open-topped car now, my love. Yes. Boaters and swimmers should get to shore as quickly as possible as water conducts electricity. So do metal pipes and phone lines. Only make calls in an emergency and best put off baths, showers and dishwashing in case lightning strikes the house and sends a jolt of electricity. Hang on, shall we have another one? Jolt of electricity through the metal plumbing. Yes. The Met Office also advises unplugging electrical appliances, lighting, anything like that, which lightning can cause power surges. Mind you, when you think about the amount of stuff you've got plugged in at home now, that's a real effort, in it, to go around and unplug everything, don't you think? Huh? But I'm sure, is it basically saying turn the electric off? I don't know. Now here's the thing, if caught outside in a thunderstorm, find a low spot away from trees, fences and poles. If your skin tingles, I might quite like that, dear. A little bit of a tingling going on there. There's nothing wrong with that, is there, boys and girls? If your skin tingles and hair stands on end, they're taking the mick now, aren't they? Of my little, actually, the broad spot isn't too bad today. It's kind of covered itself. Sometimes it's worse than others. Isn't that strange? If your skin tingles and hair stands on end, lightning is about to strike. Oh, my God. Where? It doesn't say. Does that mean it's about to strike or it's about to strike you? What would you do? Suddenly quickly jump to the left or the right? I don't know, dear. It says, crouch down. Now, we're going to try this, boys and girls. Okay, get up out of your chairs, right? I'm going to have to move something around here. Just a minute now. We've got to try this now. Just moving something around, okay? Now, I've got to read the instructions as well while I'm doing this. So, now let's see. What's it say? Are you ready to do this? Let me see. Oh, yes. Wait. Here we are. If your lightning is about to strike, crouch down, okay? Crouch down, balancing on the balls of your feet. Is that the top? What's the balls of your, that's not your heels, is it? Is it the bit just below the toes? Right. Balancing on the balls of your feet, placing hands and knees with hands on knees with head between them. Okay, right. 1 minute, get the thing here. Are you doing this? Oh, come on, you've got to do it. If I'm doing it, you've got to do it as well. Right, let's do it together. Come on. I'll get off here a minute. Oh, dear, because I've got a little poufet I'm standing on here. Now, what's it say? Crouch down, balancing on the balls of your feet, placing hands on knees with head between them. This makes you the smallest target possible and minimises contact with the ground. I don't think I could stay like this for very long. I can't actually... Can you get your head between your knees, by the way? Can you? Oh, hang on, I've dropped everything now. I'm trying to get... Oh, God! No, I can't do that. Can't do that. Oh, God, blimey. I'm not very flexible, really. I can walk and run and swim, but I'm not very flexible. Oh, that was an effort. God, dear me. Whew. Right. Do not... Do not put up an umbrella or use a mobile phone. The metal directs the current into the body. British Medical Journal last month illustrates the dangers with a case of a 15-year-old struck while using a mobile phone. She suffered a cardiac arrest, burst eardrum, and for a year she has to use a wheelchair. Mind you, see, a lot of damage done. If someone's hit by lightning, call for help. It is safe to touch them. People struck by lightning carry no electrical charge that can shock other people, all right? Check for pulse and breathing. Well, I don't think I've had a pulse for years, to be honest. If you know first aid, start artificial respiration. Lightning strike victims have burns in 2 places where the electric shock entered and then left the body, usually the soles of the feet. They may have broken bones or loss of hearing or sight. It's very dangerous, really, isn't it? On a serious note, lightning can cause an awful lot of damage to people and, of course, property. It says also, be wary of venturing outside too soon. Now, this I found interesting. The BBC Weather Centre advises waiting 30 minutes, half an hour, after the last flash, as over half of lightning deaths occur after the thunderstorm has passed. Now, I always assumed, you know, once the storm had gone, that's the end of it. So it must be residual, must hang around residual, must it? I don't know. I don't know. So there we are. A little bit of a few tips there if you have a lightning storm. You see, the programme that saves your life. That's me, dear, the programme that saves your life. Right. Now, all these things to talk about, no time to do it, because it's time for some emails. And first of all, where are we going first? Let me have a look here. Oh, it's our mate David. David Barron. Hello, sir. How are you? What's that say here? Oh, yes. It's our mate David Barron. And he says, here I thought you had decided to ignore some of us fans because we did something to incite your wrath. Oh, what are you chatting about, dear? Takes an awful lot to annoy me, dear. Or maybe the thought of reading out about my chemical-infested work site was enough to get you high on fumes and forget about responding. He says, well, no, enough silliness. No, what it is, Darren, I just fell behind with the emails. I was going to say, and I don't know what you think of this, I record this show, as most of you know, we don't lie, we don't pretend it's all live or anything. I usually record exactly 1 week in advance. If I'm going to my sister or away for a couple of days, I might record an extra show or an extra 2 shows. But it all takes time, okay? The reason I record a week ahead is in case something goes wrong. Then I've got a few days to sort it out. But the point is, you know, I suppose I'm fairly lucky that nothing really goes. If it's something technical happens, then I might have a few days to sort it out, and so there's no gap. That's the advantages of it. The big disadvantage with recording a week ahead is that it's difficult to do anything topical. And it also means that emails tend to hang around for one. Sometimes, if I fall behind with the emails as well, then they take even longer to come up in the programme. I'm sure some of you know, as David's noticed here, sometimes you can wait a couple of weeks for your email to come up. Well, I'm not particularly happy with that. I'd like them to come on as soon as possible after you've sent them in. And I'm not quite sure what to do. So the dilemma is, next time, I'm kind of thinking, next time I go to my sister's, right, I won't record ahead. So by the time I get back, everything will be more current. So you'd be watching or listening to this show and it would only be 1, maybe 2 days old. Okay? The dilemma is, if something goes wrong, then there's no shows kind of in the bank. And there might be a day when there's no show, or a couple of days when there's no show. Would that be okay? Are you all right with that? So what's the better thing to do? Record a week in advance, knowing that there's always that little bit of safety gap, or recording that day or the day after, so as to get any emails that have come in on particular subjects through as quickly as possible. I think I would prefer to do that, actually. I do worry that something's going to go wrong, or maybe I'm suddenly called out of the house or whatever, for whatever reason, and there's going to be no show. I'm one of those people that when I say something's going to happen, I like it for it to happen, and it worries me that there wouldn't be a show when I say there was going to be one. But do you think people are kind of, would you understand, if there was no show, you'd know there was something wrong, wouldn't you? It's also like, maybe if I had a cold or something like that. Again, by recording a week ahead, it's in the can. But I suppose having an illness would be part of life anyway, so it wouldn't really bother you, would it? If there's suddenly no show, I'd come on quickly perhaps and say, I'm sorry, not too well today, there'll be another show as soon as I'm better. Would that be all right? What do you think? Do you think I should carry on recording a week in advance, or shall I stop recording and record 1 or maybe just 2 days ahead in future? Let us know on the email, because as I say, people do notice when their emails don't come up quickly. Let us know what you think. Shall I record a week in advance, or bring it up more up to date so we can include the emails quicker? I think the second one. Do you think differently, or do you agree? Let me know. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. David goes on to say, I do have to agree with you regarding your thoughts on burglars suing people for hurting themselves while robbing a household. Do you remember we talked about that? I think it's just ridiculous. Why should we make our homes a safe work environment for someone who is trying to rob us blind? You remember I was telling you that I've heard of a few cases now of burglars taking householders to court when they burgle their homes and hurt themselves because someone's left a garden fork out in the garden or something like that. The burglar treads on it, gets a hole in his foot, then takes the householder to court, health and safety. I mean, it's not on, is it? It's not on. David says, it's not our fault that these despicable individuals are too lazy to earn their living the honest way, like you and I. I say it should be mandatory for our households to be more dangerous for these thieves so it would deter them from stealing. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with having an electric wire going around the inside of your fence. Now, it must be the inside, of course. Right? Carrying high voltages. So if any burglar tries to climb over the top or anyone like that, they're electrocuted. And so what if some of them killed? Shouldn't be climbing into my garden, should you? And the same with barbed wire. And I personally think that should be allowed. I do. David goes on to say, however, I mean, do you think that's a bit much? David goes on to say, however, my thoughts on this topic are jaded by the fact I was victimised by 3 robbers who robbed and tried to strangle me to death while I worked in a movie rental store. It also never helped the fact that the police were accusing me of this crime because there were no viable leads that led to catching the crooks. So since the date, and he was actually robbed on one of the Remembrance Days, can you believe? Remembrance Sundays. I have taken a firm stance on punishing those who have committed any kind of severe offence. My solution to stopping robbers: start removing their hands. It may seem like a harsh punishment. However, if they don't have any hands, how do they break in and steal? Yeah, not that, David. Not just that. But if you start chopping off people's hands, robbers and such like, don't you think other people would be put off? What nasty little so-and-sos would say, oh, I'm not doing that anymore, I don't want my hands chopped off. OK, you'd still get some people try it. I agree, David. I absolutely agree. And then all these blooming do-gooders will come out and say, oh, well, then some people will have to look after them and they'll have to be fed. No, they won't. They shouldn't have done the dirty deed, should they? Make them look after themselves. Oh, they might not be able to feed themselves and die. Well, then that's their problem, isn't it? Shouldn't break into people's houses. Simple as that. David goes on, do you think that is too harsh, people? What do you reckon? Let me know. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Maybe you've had an experience with robbers or crimes against you as a person. And we're not talking speed cameras here, all right? We've done enough on those. Have you been the victim of a crime, perhaps? Let me know about it. I don't want to know dates, okay? Or I won't identify you if you don't want to be identified. If you want to be anonymous, hey, please don't mention my name. But, and of course, it will be anonymous. You know, you can trust me to do that, yeah? David says, these people are obviously too lazy to work for their earnings honestly. So whether we imprison them or remove their hands, they won't be an asset to the workforce either way. I absolutely agree with you. Chop their hands off. Don't they do that in some countries? Is it Saudi Arabia they actually do that? Don't they chop their hands off? Good. And what's the crime rates in Saudi Arabia? Answer me that. I bet they're not like they are here in the UK at the moment. It's shocking here. And we've got kids. We've got kids here at the moment knifing each other. Virtually every week now, another boy, and it always seems to be a boy, a young boy, and another boy seems to have been murdered. Every single week here in the UK, people are now being knifed. It's scary. But it always seems to be young lads on young lads. What's all that about? You and me would be okay walking down the street. I'm not quite sure what it's all about. And it's sad for the parents to know that their child, their young boy child, and they seem to be, the majority of cases, appears to be between the ages of 15 and 25. Have you got a child, perhaps, who's around that age? Do you not worry about them now going out all the time? Well, there was something wrong with the... just a minute now. Did we have something wrong with the sound then? We might have had something wrong with the sound. No, we're back now. To remove their hands, they won't be an asset to the workforce anyway. A fitting end for them, I believe. Yes, and I agree with you. Chop the hands off. Especially these people who get caught for knifing people as well. Chop the hands off. Speaking of criminals injuring the innocent, that robbery, it was such a traumatic experience that I ended up developing post-traumatic stress from it, which in turn has affected my sleeping habits to the point I am now diagnosed parasomniac. Parasomniac. As a parasomniac, I suffer from frequent sleepwalking episodes, night terrors, as well as nightmares. So regarding your thoughts on doing something while you sleep seems to be so much different for me as it is for you. On many occasions, I have discovered my sleepwalking episodes during the night resulted in eating food, rearranging a room in the house, and even holding full conversations with people. This is while he's asleep. So if you ever really want to get the most out of your sleep, you should get a sleeping disorder. If you don't mind me saying so, David, it's great that you can make light of this yourself. I deal with that in some things, perhaps, that don't make me happy. I kind of, in front of people, try and turn things into jokes, and you've kind of done this here yourself, which I think is good, mate. I think that's good for you. However, what I've mentioned makes up only 1% of the episodes I encounter on a nightly basis. For most part, my parasomnia results in extremely gory, destructive nightmares and sleep-walking fits that's a danger not only to myself but those around me. And regarding the rumour that you are never to wake someone up if they are sleepwalking because it could result in being the cause of them falling into cardiac arrest is a blatant lie. It is possible something could happen, that a sleepwalker could suffer a heart attack, but the main reason you never wake up someone while they are sleepwalking is based around the fact that sleepwalkers are lost in a world of dreams where the rules of reality do not apply. Hence, they could react in a certain number of ways that could result in severely injuring either the sleepwalker or the person trying to wake them up. It can be quite a frightening event. However, it can inspire and some intense ideas for art-based projects. Nice one, David. Anyway, got to run. Have a good one. That's from David. Thanks very much for sharing that with us, David. Time for me to go, boys and girls. Sorry I haven't got any more time left today. As always, thanks for listening and watching. From myself, Chris Reardon. See you in the next show. UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Bye-bye now.